Hi folks, back again with another tale of entitled hewers and the joys of being a professional photographer. I'll start by apologizing. This is going to be a long one, filled with stress, cursing, boobs, arguments, job losses, and a hotel completely changing their wedding policy. So let's go back to 2 years ago and the late infancy of my professional photographer career. I'd done a few weddings at this stage and was doing pretty feckin' great at it, IMHO. I'd only gotten engaged myself a few months prior, so I was working my hole off to get our own wedding funds up, and word of mouth from my previous work was really bringing in the business. It was pretty great. Of course, we had beggars chancing their arm for free shots, as any protog would know, but all in all, the cash and work was coming in slowly. A guy who now used to be my friend had his own wedding coming up, and his fiancée loved my photos, so they wanted to book me for it. Great, a couple I already know. Should be fun. Yeah, no, it was not. So the guy's a DJ, a pretty damn good one, and I've known him for about 10 years. We got to talking about price and things, and we came to an arrangement. I'd give him a full day, 8 to 9 hours, photography package for only £300, less than half price including album, and he'd DJ my wedding evening, 3 hours, for free 2 years after. Sounds good, right? So we finalized everything and agreed on it, and I had him and the missus sign off on it. Shortly after, the fiancé added me on Facebook. As you do, being friendly, I accepted. I then took a quick look at her page to get an idea of what kind of photos she likes of herself. Well, turns out she's a complete narcissist. At the very least 50 selfies a day, and all of her showing pretty much her bare boobs. I immediately think, shite, as I've shot these types before, and it's always the same thing. But this one, she was destined to be the worst I'd ever meet. So my missus said it would be grand. I'm a professional and a good one, so there's not much she could complain about, and I decided she was right. First meeting with couple in person, and his fiancé has zero input. Oh, whatever you want. You're the professional. Your photos are always lovely. Oh, we don't mind. Okay. A lot of people always say this. I think it's the Irish in us of not wanting to fuss, but I try and at least have them name 10 types of shots they must have so I can get an idea of their style and wants. After all, it's their big day and I want them to have the best possible memories of it. But nope, she doesn't mind, and her fella, my mate, is the same. They both want to leave it up to me, and so that's where we leave it. I have them sign off on it, and they get on with their wedding planning, and I get on with mine, and we had 1 or 2 short meetings afterwards to discuss albums and pay off their bill. And then it comes, their wedding day. I wake up feeling confident and excited for my buddy. Deep down I was a little concerned still about her, but fuck it, I thought. I'll do my best for them and it should be fun. I arrive at the hotel to start my day's work at about 10 a.m., weddings at 2 p.m., for the bride getting ready shots, and this is where the fun begins. As I approach the hotel lobby desk, I overhear the staff saying, Jesus, that bride's going to make this a long day, and by fuck were those 2 ladies right. As soon as I enter the hotel room, I'm greeted by a tired-looking bridesmaid. Then I'm met by wails and screams as the bride-to-be is hounding her mother about a hair clip, but it's like a switch is flipped when she sees me and she's all sweetness and light, and the first problem arises. Oh, Irish folk, it's you. Come in, I have photos I want you to take. She beams from her comically massive pink bathrobe that still somehow manages to show most of her tits. Those fucking tits will be the bane of my day. Now don't get me wrong here, they're pretty good tits when in a bra. You'll find out how I know this soon, and I don't know how the woman stands up straight, but I have great tits at home, and when my friend's soon-to-be wife's tits are pretty much thrown at me when I'm trying to work, it's distracting to a man, especially these Morlocks. I'm sorry because we will mention them a lot in this story because they're actually 2 big parts of it, but I digress. You have to take pics of my wedding lingerie. Right? I was expecting it to be laid out on a bed with a few flower petals or on a hanger all seductive-like, but nope, it's in a shopping bag. She unceremoniously rips the tags off, and as brazen as fuck, she derobes to change into it as if I'm not even in the room. I turned around, of course, and looked anywhere else and left the room. You know those viral videos of a ceiling with a bunch of water being held in by paint? Or wait, you ever see a big plastic bag that's only filled with liquid? Picture 2 of those swinging in the atmosphere and clapping together like 2 atoms at the Hadron Collider. Thankfully, her makeup artist and hairstylist arrived, and she was distracted by her mom screaming for her to get into the shower. I started working in the other room, taking some carefully placed shots of the shoes and flowers, etc. as the ladies set up to work. I would shoot the bridesmaids getting their hair done and makeup done, and all was well. For about 20 minutes. Bride's turn. Never mind that the youngest bridesmaid isn't finished and was half a head of hair done. It's the bride's turn in the chair because she wants pictures of her getting her makeup done, and so begins the first of many, ugh, delete that moments. Normally, when a customer asks to see a professional photographer's photos, the protog will say no, as they prefer to present the best possible image after editing or whatever. Very rarely or ever will a protog let you see each shot he takes for your opinion as he shoots. Not only because he's the professional and you're not, but because it would take far too feckin' long and is just bad manners. Bride-to-be does not care for manners. I take 10 quick shots, she must see them before I can take another, or she lets the makeup and her hair ladies keep working. Oh, can you pretty please try them from here? I take 5 more from different angles. Maybe over here, sorry. I can see through your fake AF politeness, woman, but for a quiet life, I'll play along for now. Finally, she's happy with shots that are basically dead on in front of her for maximum cleavage and minimum double chin. Oh, and did I mention it just so happens to be the angle she takes her selfies from? Yeah, it's gonna be a long day. The morning turns to afternoon. I get some really lovely images, to be fair, and it's about 30 minutes to the ceremony and guests are arriving downstairs. I'm out of the bridal suite and shooting candid shots of my buddy, the groom, looking suave, while meeting his guests and family at the top of a beautiful, grand old staircase, and it's pretty fun. Everyone's in good spirits. Then a bridesmaid shows up outside the ceremony room looking flustered and says to me the bride wants me to get everyone to take their seats so she can have photos taken on the staircase before the ceremony. I turn to the groom, confused, and he's got an expression of business as usual on his face and begins to ask everyone to take their seats. If you've never been to a wedding, the bride usually shows up just as the ceremony begins to avoid anyone seeing her. 'Tis tradition. But fuck traditional today, I guess. As the last guest enters the room, I see the bride already on her way down the corridor. She looks scared, or at least nervous, but that's to be expected, it's her wedding day. The staff are also confused, but the bride begins to direct me where to take the shots from, and for sheer peace, I agreed, and even managed to have her not ask to see every shot and allow me to take a few of here where I wanted to. Imagine that. The pictures are lovely and I'm a bit taken aback, but it's the ceremony now and she can't stop me to see the pics as I take them, so should be good. I go up and take a few shots of the groom before the bride enters as you do and the ceremony begins. Folks, she looked terrified. No joke, I took 236 photos of that 30-minute ceremony and I captured 12 photos of her where she doesn't look like she's going to run or throw up. Honestly, a few people noticed and it was a challenge to say the least. I felt bad for my buddy, but once it was done and sealed, she did smile a little and they did the meeting the guests, etc. And after a drink or two, she started to once again smile. For a while at least. Now came the bride and groom shoot. They wanted them on the nearby city walls, which are beautiful to say the least and only 2 minutes walk away. Well, either I was to blame, or the son was to blame, or her husband was to blame because none of the shots were good enough, and if I didn't show her then she would literally stamp her feet and refuse to move until I did, and she wanted another with of course more tits and from that one shitty selfie angle. Her 2 kids were better behaved. We finally got that part done, and she wanted to take a few more selfies of herself. I might add she'd been taking selfies literally the whole day apart from during the ceremony, and this is where I got a bit pissed off. Not only did she want us to wait and walk back the way we came while she took selfies, she wanted us to walk through the town to the river so she could get more pictures down there. Never mind that the wedding meal was due to take place in 5 minutes and she had 75 people waiting for her. For every selfie, she wanted me to take another with my camera in the exact same spot. Okay, sure, just get it done, I thought. This was my motto for the day, take what shots she wanted and crack off as many candid shots as possible in my own style. We finally got to the river, and TBF, it did make for some great pictures for me, but her narcissism was now in full Bridezilla mode. She was expecting cars to dead-on stop as she walked out into the road and screamed when they didn't because it was her day. She expected the people walking around town to flock around her and say OMG and was disgusted by them. She actually said those words. My buddy, the husband, looked tired, and at moments like he was trying to work out the impossible equation that led him there. We arrived back at the hotel at 4:30 p.m., a full half-hour late for the meal. Along the way, bride confided to her bridesmaids while giggling that her dress was the 6th she had bought, but not to tell her husband as she's, jokingly, only with him for the money anyways. She found this so funny in a very serious way. Poor bastard was a few steps behind with groomsmen, and her kids seemingly switched off. Hotel staff were in high alert when we got back. The wedding coordinator was annoyed, but of course didn't show it. Dinner was started quickly, and I got my first sit-down of the day, for about 5 minutes. Bride had decided the speeches should happen before the starters instead of before dessert as previously arranged. Literally every hungry guest and flustered staff member rolls their eyes in some way. I swear I could even hear it happen. Fine, quick battery change and back at it. Really regretting the price at this stage, but I'm here and it's only a few more hours, so fuck it. While the father of the groom is giving a lovely and hilarious speech, the bride actually clicks her fingers at me and at the ground in front of her table to say, "Shoot my reaction from here with a serious face." The whole wedding notices. I hunch down in front and begin to shoot back and forth from groom's dad, best man, groom's speeches, and her as she robotically changes her expression from thoughtful to smiling to laughing, all while keeping those Morlocks pressed together center frame. It's actually quite scary to see it happen. Meal was lovely, finally got to sit down and chat to a few mutual friends, got to hand it to the hotel. They dealt with every random demand super well, and it was a beautiful place. The bride got drunker and seemed to not need shots every 2 seconds, so I'm mingling and shooting some brilliant candid shots of the groom, bride, family, and friends, and TBH, it was some of my best wedding shots to that point. The first dance was approaching, and I was thanking my lucky stars the bride was already drunk and genuinely smiling, so I had to endure one Ed Sheeran song and I'm home free. Dance was beautiful. I don't like the song, but they looked great with the lights and the photos were incredible. I got home, informed my wife of the long day, and settled into a few weeks of editing. 2 days later. "Hi, when do you think the photos will be ready?" "Well, it will take a while. We discussed before that it usually takes about 3 weeks as I have other work on, but I'll try my best to be done as quick as possible." I meant it. I wanted it done so I didn't have to look at her again, TBH. 3 days later, and it seems she's ran out of her own selfies from the day to post on social media. "Hey, how they coming?" I anticipated this, so I had about 15 shots prepared to send her as a sneak peek thing, and she was over the moon. "OMG, they're so amazing, thank you, can't wait to see the rest." So begins an every 2-day message. "Any more? Hey, are any more pics ready? Meme about wedding pics and a smiley face." I messaged back that it had only been a week and a half, and I was busy and it would be at least another week, and boy howdy was she pleased. "I paid you for my photos, give them to me soon, please." "Yeah, okay, sure," I said, and went back to life. Got them finished that next Monday, and even got a beautiful message in a bottle USB pen with their vows on them made by my missus and sent them off. "I love them," she said multiple times. My buddy, her hubby, said many times she really adored them and they would choose their album ones soon. All was well. For about 3 days. "Hey Irish folks, was wondering if you had more pictures of our wedding. These ones are okay, but they're just all the same. Is there no more from the ceremony when she looks terrified, walls when she threw a fit, town where she threw another fit?" I'd given them over 300 of my best work to date. It hit my confidence hard. I knew she was a psycho hose beast, but it still hurt. I didn't reply to her, but instead to my buddy, asking what happened. They both loved them a few days ago and told me many times. He said she had already posted them all to FB and thought she had more. He did inquire as to the ceremony only having 12, and I showed him a small amount of the unedited shots of her looking terrified, and he agreed she would not like them. As a favor to him, I edited about 10 to 20 more in different styles and sent them through. Again, not good enough. She messaged apparently I had just put Instagram filters on the same photos. Again, I messaged her hubby, and he said, just tell her that's all she's getting and she's lucky to have them because they're great. I told her, look, you got loads of photos, more than average wedding customers, and what's more, you were TBH, a horrible person to work with. I told her a few home truths about how no protog would like anyone to treat them the way she did me, and that I only did it out of respect for her husband, and that I'd only charged them £300 after all, a discount of £150 even with the DJing for my wedding by her husband. It was left at that, and of course she put up all her pics on Facebook and uses them all as profile pictures repeatedly, even though they're not good enough. Funny that. Fast forward to early this year, and my own wedding in the same hotel is approaching. I'm in contact with my buddy, her husband, for weeks about set lists and times and what have you, and our wedding planning is going great. 2 days before the big day, I'm on Facebook, and I see my buddy tagged in a post from Bridezilla at an airport. Off on holiday for 2 weeks with hubby, can't wait. Yeah, so 2 days before my wedding, my DJ is going on holiday for 2 weeks, even though he was talking to me 7 days before about the wedding day. Dear reader, I seen red. I lit on him and his cunt wife. How dare he? I was fuming. He didn't reply, seen the messages, but didn't reply. I told my groomsmen and her bridesmaids in an attempt to find a DJ last minute for our wedding. They all knew my buddy and couldn't believe what he did. One of my groomsmen messaged him, one of my Mrs. Bridemaids messaged him, even angrily. She has a lot of pull in the local entertainment scene, and she promised him he'd never get another gig in the town, the whole 9 yards, and finally he replied to me. Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. I can get my friend who's a DJ to DJ and you'll just have to pay him £100 that night. Oh, you fucker. So you forgot you had a booking you were just talking about a week before, or you forgot you had a holiday booked the whole time you would talk to me about it? Which is it? Oh, and I have to pay a random guy you can vouch for because I'm stuck? Nah, lad, you pay him or pay me the rest of your wedding bill today, or you can pay it in court. This is your fault here, not mine. I shouldn't have to pay a DJ I've already hired. Yeah, okay, he concedes. He didn't message again after that and still hasn't till this day, and his name has been pretty much scorned with every pub he used to DJ in weekly. Thank you, bridesmaid number 3. Turns out the guy he recommended was a brilliant DJ and super nice guy. We even tipped him that night because everyone had a blast and would recommend him to anyone. Super guy. And the hotel, well, they informed us that after Titzilla, they refused to agree to weddings without meeting the couple at least 3 times, changed the numbers allowed to attend, and changed their whole wedding layout to avoid the same woes they had with her. They had no such trouble with us. After that, I refused to do weddings. Never again. Even if they're your friends, folks, be careful. Cuntiness runs deep. Sorry for the long-ass post, but this was actually quite cathartic. Have a great day.